take us through the numbers for this 168-pound encounter.
Well, Morrell has an edge in height, he has an edge in reach, and we know he has a power edge. So Henderson doesn't always do this, but he may have to get on the inside in this fight if he's to pull the upset.
The rules for tonight's fights: only the referee can stop the fight. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell. With the official introductions, here is Hall of Fame ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Armory here in beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota. Premier Boxing Champions presents a big night of action coming your way, and it's all brought to you by Warriors Boxing, TGB Promotions, and Showtime. And we extend a special welcome to the brave men and women serving around the world and joining us tonight on AFN, the American Forces Network. Well, fans, this world title attraction is presented along with King's Promotions. It is sanctioned by the WBA, the president Gilberto Jesus Mendoza, supervisor in attendance Norioli Hill. Introducing our three judges, scoring from ringside. From Texas, David Yakabuchi. From Minnesota, Mark Nelson. And from Quebec, Canada, Pascual Procopio. Introducing our third man to the ring, the referee in charge of this bout, Luis Pabon. All right, fans, here we go with the co-main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship of the World. Introducing to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black and gold trunks with green and red trim, joining us from Fayetteville, Arkansas. He weighed in at 167 1/2 pounds with a record of 15 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. He has 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making his first attempt at a world title, ladies and gentlemen, here's the battle-ready challenger, introducing Kalvin Hot Sauce Henderson. And his opponent across the ring, the defending world champion, fighting out of the blue corner. Entering the ring wearing red trunks with white trim, proudly fighting out of and representing his adopted home of Minneapolis, Minnesota. He weighed in at already 166 1/2 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the professional ranks with a record of 6 wins, no losses, 5 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight in his third world title appearance, ladies and gentlemen, here is the undefeated and the defending WBA Super Middleweight Champion of the World, introducing David Morrell. Once again, a referee in charge now to give instructions, Luis Pabon.
Okay, guys, I give you instruction in the dressing room. Let's having a clean match, okay? Good Lord, God bless you. Le di la instrucción en el camerino. Vamos a la pelea limpia, que ganemos suerte.
Referee Luis Pabon from Puerto Rico, 29 years pro experience. Hey, he's working his 518th pro bout. 24-year-old David Morrell fighting for the 4th time. 7 pro fights here in front of a partisan crowd at the Armory. Kalvin Henderson, married father of 5, received a BA in music education in 2012, was on scholarship for percussion at the University of Arkansas. And yeah, he wants to drum up the upset tonight as we begin round 1. The southpaw from Cuba, David Morrell, who was obviously on the fast track, nearly 150 unpaid fights in his native Cuba, showcasing some good movement, and now going to work with the body shots and the offensive onslaught on Kalvin Henderson, trying to cover up along the ropes.
He's got 3 first-round knockouts, so he's dangerous early.
Yeah, really picking his shots really good. He's missing a bit, but he's doing great because he's not smothering his punches.
And he talked about being under the bright lights of Showtime in front of his fan base here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, wanting to show up and show out. And Again, he is undefeated against limited opposition, and with all due respect to Kalvin Henderson, not necessarily a step up in this fight, but a chance for David Morrell to keep his hype train going.
Yeah, he wants to win an impressive one. And Henderson needs to stay off the ropes. That is the one place you can't be against David Morrell.
And it looks like Henderson stuck in quicksand here in the opening frame along those ropes, Abner.
Yeah, Morrell, I mean, he doesn't care who they put in front of him. I mean, he's in really his hometown, and he's just trying to impress and give a good fight, and he's doing that right now in this first round.
Now, there's the left hook from Henderson. It's the one punch I think he can land if he throws it a lot.
Very limited in his offense is Kalvin Henderson, as he's been stapled along the ropes by David Morrell, looking to close the show early here in front of a passionate, knowledgeable crowd at the Armory in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
You know, Henderson knows keeping his poise here. Yes, he's losing round one. He's taking some big shots, and he shouldn't be on the ropes, but he's keeping his poise and blocking some of those shots.
Yeah, blocking some good shots, but it's the aggression from Morrell that is not letting Henderson get off.
Oh, but there's a nice counter right hand over the top by Henderson that connected. His best punch of the round.
And Henderson is cut now over the left eye.
And Henderson has been cut in the past against Isaiah Steen in his lone loss. Again, he suffered a torn right rotator cuff injury early in that fight. Finds himself here with an opportunity to change his life against David Morrell, but Morrell is making Henderson's life hell here in the first round.
That's what he does.
It's a really, really good round for Morrell, this one. Now, the second one, when he comes out, I want to see a little bit more feints. Have Anderson open up.
It's incredible. His camp feel that he has a chance to go to the highest level of the sport and really be a major primetime player. He's, well, looked the part against Kalvin Henderson.
Good round, good round. Good round. Good way to keep the stick together, okay? That's it, good round. So now we know you're going to come and somebody on it. You want to see what you're really working with. As long as you sit there in those little spots, though, you find little shots. You have got a little cut right now. Yeah, but what I want you to do is just right here, you got to come back a little bit more, and your better option to hit him is those little catch counter shots. See, what you're saying, hook, do it, single or double. And you go on back into the stick. I really want to try to get it work. Huh? They're trying to get into an uppercut. Okay? Be mindful. They're trying to get into an uppercut.
This may be where the cut took place. And there's a right hook, and pushes his glove against his eye. We'll see if the blood starts spurting.
So it's the third time that Kalvin Henderson has been cut in his career, all 3 times over the left eye as round 2 begins. You know, here's an interesting fact about Henderson, and there are many actually in terms of his life. Rare case of an active fighter working as a boxing judge. Last year, he judged 14 bouts in his, well, where he lives now in Arkansas. And after that first round, he may decide that that's a more safer way of staying involved in the sport, but looking to bounce back here against Morrell.
Well, and they told him, Kevin Lightburn told him to get off the ropes, and he is starting this part in the middle of the round, the ring. Now, of course, Morrell can push him back at a certain point, but he's at least trying. Now, he normally lands 5 jabs around Henderson, which is half of what he usually lands, period. And he wants to get that jab working, but I think he's going to need to get on the inside.
Yeah, you said it right. I'm sorry. You said it right about, you know, Henderson's not moving back. He's not sitting on the ropes anymore because Morrell is choosing a different type of strategy in this second round, and that's good. I want to see that. A little bit more set-up punches, use that jab, you know, find openings, because even if you push Henderson back, he's got a high guard.
Numbers don't always tell the story, but the one-sided nature of the statistics really do illustrate the one-sided nature of what's unfolding in the ring as Morrell again goes to work on Henderson on the ropes. Henderson trying to stay active and fights back. Hands are low, gets caught with a right and a left. Not all of these punches are landing, but the majority are getting through for David Morrell. Left uppercut on the inside, right hook behind it, right uppercut. But Henderson fires back.
want to see from him, and the uppercut has become a huge weapon in this fight. He is landing 43% of all power punches so far, Morrell. That's everything other than the jab.
Yeah, and to add to the variety of punches that he's throwing, the setup, how he's moving from one side to another, the angles that he's making, speaking of Morrell, they're really, really good.
One of the reasons Morrell is on the fast track is due to the fact that it's not the deepest division in the sport, as Morrell digs deep to the body with the right hand, and Henderson does come back, but it's Morrell with the more technically accurate punches and the more eye-catching shots, but Henderson fires back.
You know, he's countering a little bit off those ropes, and enough to keep him in this fight.
And lands a left uppercut on the inside of his own and a right hand by Henderson. So Henderson having limited success along the ropes, but he doesn't want to be lounging on that part of the real estate against a guy who punches like Morrell.
Cash and shoot is what Henderson is trying to do.
Yes.
Well, he caught some punches. He threw out some punches. We have plenty of action.
Let's take a look at what these fighters need to do to win this match. For Morrell, he has those three first-round KOs, and he's been tough in the first round just to create doubt early, but Henderson's hanging in there. The hook on the inside, we saw the right hook from Morrell. It's a very good punch. And the straight left hand. He's landed that when Henderson lounges on the ropes. That's a big weapon for him. Now, I think Henderson needs to be on the inside. In a way, he's done that by languishing on the ropes, but not effectively. He has thrown some pretty good left hooks, counter left hooks in this fight. He's got to keep the right hand up because that straight left is coming from Morrell.
Not a bad seat in the house. Venue that seats 8,400. A lot of people standing. Just fully riveted by the action in the ring. Big boxing fans here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We begin round 3 of this 168-pound fight between the undefeated David Morrell, looking for his 7th straight win against the 15-1-1 Kalvin Henderson.
See, I like when Morrell starts the rounds like this because, I mean, he can fight at his pace, which is, pressuring, throwing a lot of punches. But right now, like I mentioned, you got to wait for the openings. Look for the openings.
Henderson fires back. Shots were blocked. Morrell has been the 12-round distance. We mentioned against Lennox Allen, but that fight remains Morrell's only fight past round 4. Here we are in the opening minute of round 3 in a fight he is in control of, although again, Henderson shows moments of, wanting to fight back and counter effectively, Al.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Henderson is that when he uses his jab, he can kind of do somewhat well at distance, but again, I think his best work is going to be when he can be closer to Morrell.
And he's got to be careful with the jab, Henderson, because, I mean, it's a good jab, but it could be slow at times.
Yes, I agree. Morrell will switch to righty once in a while, but he does it instinctively. Hasn't in this fight yet.
The boxing cognoscenti, the hardcore fan base, of course, always looking to see just what fighters are capable of doing. And David Morrell, again, being placed on the fast track, Al, has obviously shown his power in the past. And here against Kalvin Henderson has shown a lot of different wrinkles in his game. And yet Henderson is still standing there along the ropes.
Well, and that's the key element. With all the creative offense that Morrell has done, Henderson's there, and Henderson's still landing some counter punches.
And now Henderson still taking it on the ropes as Morrell beginning to put on a little bit of a show, wanting to entertain the fans, not only here at the Armory, but on Showtime. And again, he's talked about facing the likes of David Benavidez. And of course, there is one undisputed king of the weight class. His name is Canelo Alvarez. But Morrell has to continue to deliver between the ropes, Abner.
He's found something here in this round, Morrell, which is the jab. He's walking in with the jab now, and he's got a really good
vicious right hook.
He hurt him with that. And see, those are the setup punches that I'm talking about.
And Henderson's been down once in his career. He is getting tattooed on the ropes. Flush shots from Morrell. Referee Pavon looking on.
something and that's all the fight, okay? Show me something or the other the fight.
He promised his younger brother a knockout before round 5. Almost got it there.
Hey, come on. You can't get off of that shit. Show him to me because he think you take a lot of fun. And we at his place. We want to fucking stop the fight. Okay? Listen to me. You're reaching for his jab. And he's starting to come behind him and it makes you go back on defense. And then
Well, Morrell throwing so many great punches of variety, and Abner made the point that the jab was the difference, and it was because it helped set everything up. The head movement, this is exactly what you want to see from him. And later on, Abner, the left hand became a weapon along with the hook.
The opening was there. He took that shot, that hook, and he landed so well. And the variety of punches that he landed right after that were just amazing. I don't know how Henderson was ever able to take all those.
And Kalvin Henderson answers the bell for round number 4. And for David Morrell, all 5 of his previous knockouts have occurred in the first 4 frames.
You know, Henderson was hoping that they, and his camp were hoping that they were getting Morrell at the right time. Still early enough in his career when, with his experience of 17 fights, they could exploit it. So far, that hasn't worked out.
There's the jab from Morrell, followed up by the left hand. Resets in the center of the ring. High peekaboo guard. There's a 1-2 that manages to split the guard of Morrell by Henderson, but he's known as hot sauce because he puts hot sauce on everything. He's got to put some hot sauce on these punches. But he finds himself corralled in the ropes. There's an effective counter from Henderson.
That actually stopped Morrell for a moment. That was enough to stop him at least for a second.
nobody threw.
And that left hook, as we said, where he's hitting the keys, and that's Henderson's thing in this fight. You got to keep throwing it.
Morrell has never been down as a pro. This is just the 27th round of his pro career. Double right hook, 1 to the body, 1 upstairs to the side of Henderson's head, and blood trickling down the side of his face. Again, there's a beautiful left hand right through the guard, and now Morrell beginning to effectively dismantle Henderson, and just when you think, okay, the end is near, Henderson says not so fast.
Hey, Kalvin Henderson's a warrior.
That he is.
No doubt. I honestly didn't see him coming out, and if anything, I thought Morrell was going to go after him, but no, he chose, to slow down the pace a bit. He's jabbing like he has to. Good jab from Morrell. And just about time. You got to take your
right hand. Lead right landed flush for Morrell. Final 45 seconds of the 4th round, and showing a little more of that Cuban school of boxing, even though he's known as the Cuban who can crack.
And see, that's a mature fighter, Morrell, right there. He's waiting for the right time, right for the right punches. See, there it is. Perfect one.
And there's another beautiful right hook that lands, and long distance left uppercut. Referee Pavon steps in, waves the fight off, much to the chagrin of a game Kalvin Henderson. But David Morrell gives Minneapolis another reason to celebrate. He improves to 7-0 with his 6th knockout. And they're celebrating with Ronnie Shields' 2nd fight with the esteemed trainer, and continues to show growth. But again, with all due respect to Kalvin Henderson, David Morrell was expected to close the show tonight, Abner.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You get those type of fights where you're expected to win, you're expected to do something, but it's how you do it. And I think that Morrell gave us a good show today. He picked his shots, boxed beautifully, gave us good combinations, and at the end of the day, it's a show that you want to get.
Ronnie Shields has said that he believes the thing that makes Morrell so dangerous at this point in his career is he believes he can win any fight against anybody. He works hard and he wants to learn, and Shields has created a number of champions, and he thinks David Morrell is the next one for him.
Morrell describes his style. He told us he's a mix of Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson, and Roy Jones. Hey, if he's as much as half right, this guy's going to be hard to beat.
Those are a lot of different styles. Let's take a look at how this fight was stopped. And it's interesting, referee Pavone stopping it at a time when he could have stopped it in the last round. No, you can't really argue too much because Henderson was taking some big shots on the ropes. and the referee jumping in, and Henderson not happy with the stoppage, obviously, but he had a good look at it, and he felt that Henderson had simply been taking too much punishment. And this, another look at it will show that a lot of punches were landing. I mean, that was a tremendous right hook. There'll be a straight left hand thrown in here as well.
And it wasn't so much of a barrage of punches that Morrell was throwing like how he began. No, it was more of a shots that he was choosing. Well-picked shots, well-placed shots from Morrell, and that's what did the job tonight.
And the one thing that they will look back on this fight, and they will know that there were some counters that Henderson landed that against a bigger puncher might be a problem for Morrell. So we know that he's an offensive-minded fighter, and because of that, he's going to be hit once in a while with some shots, and it'll depend, obviously, on how well he takes them as he uncorks this kind of offense.
All's well that ends well for David Morrell. And hey, things ended extremely well as he improves to 7-0 with his 6th knockout win, remaining on the fast track in the 168-pound division. Tony Oliva, a Hall of Fame Cuban baseball player, played his entire 15-season career with the Minnesota Twins, won the World Series in '87 and '91, and hey, he's showing his love for the, well, potentially the next big Cuban star in David Morrell.
Tony Oliva is royalty here, and this man would like to become royalty in the sporting world in this sports-crazy town. The numbers are startling in behalf of David Morrell, landing 45% of his power punches. Believe it or not, that's exactly what he normally lands, and using the jab enough, as Abner pointed out, to work his way in effectively.
Let's make it official. Here is Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes 35 seconds in round number 4. Our referee in charge, Luis Pabon, stops the contest. He is the winner by way of technical knockout, and he is still undefeated. The WBA Super Middleweight Champion of the World, David Morrell.
Partisan crowd at the Armory in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Appreciative of the efforts of David Morrell, who again, born in Cuba, but has put his roots down here in Minneapolis, and he impresses as we go to Brian Campbell.
Morrow here with the victorious David Morrell Jr. Felix De Jesus will do the translating. David, you came out aggressive, nearly scored a knockout in the first round, but took your time in the rounds after. How would you grade your performance?
Saliste agresivo para esta pelea, quería el knockout en el primer asalto, no lo conseguiste, pero durante los próximos asaltos en sí estaba peleando muy bien.
Primero que todo, le doy gracias a Dios por una vez más tenerme con salud y con fuerza para estar aquí. Le doy gracias a Ronnie, gracias a las instrucciones de él en la esquina, fue que pude hacer este trabajo. Y sí, la intención fue esa. Me faltó el respeto en la conferencia de prensa y bueno, yo siempre mi respuesta la doy en el ring.
Yeah, no, definitely. I want to first thank God, thank my corner, Ronnie Shields, who did an excellent job today. And that's what my game plan was, to be concentrated. If I didn't get him in the first round, then I was looking to, get him in the later rounds.
David, you left Cuba in 2019 and settled in this Minneapolis area. This was your 4th fight in this building in 7 pro fights. You heard that reaction. What is it about this community that they've embraced you like this?
Hey, a Cuba en el 2019 para venir a Minnesota. Ya esta es tu comunidad. Te ha tratado como un hijo aquí. ¿Qué tú sientes sobre ello?
Like, I'm excited. Thank you for everyone for coming. Like, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. It's my night. I told you everyone, like, it's for USA. So I'm excited. It's my new home, Minnesota. Like, I respect my home, man. That's it.
You gave the fans what they wanted, which was a stoppage. It seemed the right hook was a big part of your attack to hurt Henderson. Talk to me about how you got him out of there.
Dime, dice Brian que el right hook fue el golpe contundente esta vez. Dime cómo lo preparaste para entonces terminar esta pelea.
150%.
100%? 100%?
150%.
150%. He was 150% ready for the fight.
150%, el 100% lo da cualquiera.
Yeah. He has that extra edge of 50%, so he has 150% every time he fights.
Let's talk about the end of the fight. We can look at the replay right in front of us. Tell us what you saw in leading up to the finish.
¿Qué tuviste para conseguir la victoria aquí, ya al final?
Vi primero que todo, mi hermano Jonathan me gritó desde aquí en la esquina, Ronnie, ¿sabes? Todo el mundo me gritó de aquí, so me di cuenta automáticamente, aparte que estaba siguiendo, fue lo que se me indicó en la esquina, so atacar con golpe fuerte y bueno, y cuando viera la debilidad, pues ahí mismo dar el golpe.
Yeah, it was explained for me in the corner by Ronnie Shield. Wait till I see that the one that was going to hurt him, the punch, and that's what I did. I executed correctly.
Una cosa más.
One more thing.
Okay, one more time. I'm ready for everybody at 168. Like, I'm open for everything. Call me, Carl Luis Senior, Carl Luis Jr., Heyman, whatever. Like, I'm ready for everybody 168. Sorry.